be silent!
And welcome to the Orville rewatch show. Soon to not be the Orville rewatch show. It'll be replaced with something else, but that's
We're just going on a hiatus, Jody.
We're going on a hiatus until, McFarlane eventually cashes the check from the studio and then, he makes another season. So we'll see how this goes. But anyway, we are here to talk about Orville season 3, episode 10. That is, of course, Future Unknown, which plays more than one thing, really, when you think about it. But, let's not dwell, gentlemen. Let's embrace the last episode that we can review for now. And we will just get right onto it. So, of course, I can't do this alone. And the man himself has to be here. And, of course, that is Kevin Millard.
Hello, Jody. I'm ready for this very long last episode.
It is a long episode, isn't it? I don't think it's the longest, but it's up there. But, of course, this could have never been made possible without the expertise of one man. And I've excluded myself, so therefore it has to be Dave Mater.
Jody, hooray! Hooray, Jody! Hooray!
He's so good at this.
He's so
really good at this. Yeah. And last but not least, of course, the man who, I won't say it this time, but we all know and we're all thinking it.
No, we're not. We're not.
We are. We are Mr. Late. All right. But anyway, of course, that's Adam Woodward.
Jody, how are you tonight?
I'm just fine and on time.
Yes.
You?
Mr. Punctuality, we call him.
He's really, digging.
It's the last one. I got to do it for a while.
I thought when you went Jody, I thought we were gonna get a SmackDown, not a.
I was hoping.
Okay.
I keep prodding him, but he's just not biting. He's a cool cucumber, as they say. But anyway, let's not talk as awesome as, what does the S goat mean?
That's like an S tier goat.
S tier goat. Okay, fair enough. I'll take that as a compliment, even though I don't think it was intended to be. But we'll go with it anyway. Of course, we're here to talk about, of course, Future Unknown. And like this show, the future is kind of unknown. So, what can we do here? Kevin, how do you feel about this episode?
Long and boring that occasionally was funny. Like I didn't need literally any of this.
Okay, well, let's not dwell. How about you, Dave? How do you feel about this episode?
You know what? I enjoyed the episode. It's an interesting season finale. It's kind of just this kind of feel-good episode. There's no real action, adventure, no peril, no danger, anything like that. It's mostly just. Are
you telling me marriage isn't dangerous, Dave?
It sounds like slavery, according to the Kalon. I had fun. I laughed a lot. It's nice to have sort of an episode that's not life and death, I guess, is the only way I can put it.
Well, and I think I'm not totally sure what their idea was here. Did they know that this was going to be the last one, or was this kind of the leftover episode that they just kind of put in the end there? I don't know. This episode could easily have existed anytime in the last 5 episodes easily.
Yeah, it's a choice to make it the season finale. You could probably do it sooner. Although in the case of the storyline, if you want the Kalon to come to the wedding, you have to wrap up all that storyline before you can
That's
get to
true.
This.
Yeah, and the Kalon were definitely a good addition to the wedding party, I believe. Yes. Especially some of the gags they did.
All 10 billion of them.
All 10 billion of them, yeah, exactly. They can't fit them all in there, So they're going to have to visualize it. So, but anyway, Adam, how do you feel?
Okay, so we come off of a 10 rating where we all gave it 10s. Last week we gave pretty much all 9s.
Pretty sure this is not going to be a 9 or a 10.
I can't even start telling you how disappointed I was with this episode. It had everything I hated. It started with Claire and freaking Isaac getting married or proposing. All right. then Star Trek references are sort of subtle through the Orville. Not this time, man. We are heavy in. We got the same bloody uniforms as the dress uniforms. I hated this episode. I can't stand it.
Hey, we're not going to comment on uniforms just yet. We have to wait for Dave's official.
Then we get into the
that later
freaking
on.
Prime Directive, discussion. Like, what the hell was that? I had to look back to figure out where she came from. I couldn't even remember. Anyway, I didn't like this.
I don't remember Adam ever being this angry.
Well, you know what, Jody? We get through all these episodes to this finale.
I have
This is the way
finally
they left
broken him.
I forgot about this episode, and then I was just so disappointed. What a waste of time.
I remembered that they got married, but I didn't remember much of the rest of this episode at all. So, and the cold open is definitely the best part of this episode, in my opinion. But, I guess some people don't want to see Mocklins running down the
I didn't
running
mind
in the
that,
forest.
but
my only critique about the Mocklin through the woods thing is that that they wear like the thongs or whatever. I'm like, you're on streaming, go for it, full frontal nudity. Like, just
you're probably right.
Dave wanted to see some Mocklin penis. That's
But
what.
the
well,
other
I'm
thing
like, if you're gonna do this, like, just commit. That's all.
There
I'm
was
saying.
so much like here's the problem with the Orville, and this they do this every couple episodes, and they really did it with this one. They throw thousands of stories in here that we just want one.
It's crowded for sure. Yeah.
Well, we got the woman from Majority Rule from I can't remember the name of her planet.
They
or
could have
anything.
cut 25
Something
minutes out of
for-
this episode by just leaving that on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just get rid of.
Well, I feel like it's like two episodes kind of put together, right? Like I
It
feel
does
like
feel that way.
coming
yeah.
back to that storyline is interesting, but it feels like
Was it?
not? I thought it was.
Okay.
I love that. Was it?
I was thinking about that, the whole Prime Directive things. I was specifically thinking of you, Kevin, throughout most
Yes.
of that, and going. I feel like Kevin would not accept this argument that Kelly is making about the non-interference and the unintended consequences. And you might be more on the side of what's her name, the woman, this girl from the planet.
I'm kind of
remember.
I'm kind of in between. Like, I wouldn't let her go with just all the
Cecilia?
technology and take it to her planet, but I would. I am not a non-interference proponent.
You
I
are
think
you are in favor of non-interference, or
I
you're
am in favor of guidance.
Her name's Lacella.
Lacella. So you would
Lacella.
do you accept Lacella's argument that why doesn't the Union just give this technology to her planet and others like it?
Actually, I'm more in line with the way the Vulcans treat humans in
Okay.
in
Right.
Enterprise.
Well, they're always like, put the brakes on, slow down.
Yeah. We're not going to
Stop
give you
throwing
the
out there.
nuclear codes just yet, but we'll move you in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
let's get into it, guys. Do we have anything else to say, or shall we just get going?
It's just unless I forget. The dress uniforms were much better than I remember. I thought they really worked in this final scene.
They just went to the next gen room and picked them up and modified a little bit.
You think they're too next Jenny?
Look, it's unabashed. Like there's just.
This is really unsettling to have Adam this irritated about something.
They don't look like the next gen uniforms.
He's usually the nice one.
They look
with-
like the movie ones.
The movie.
I
ones,
look
thank
like
you.
the movie.
expected them
Oh,
to be like
they got like the
Eugene
collars.
Cheffor.
Yeah, and they got belts. I can kind of see what they're more ornate and they got more going on.
But Navy tradition is all whites, right? So it
Which
kind
is
of makes
fine.
sense
Like,
for them to
look,
be white.
I'm not gonna that's not my problem with the episode. Honestly, is that.
I think it's one of his
Kind
problems.
of sounded like your problem, but okay.
Okay, it's one of the problems.
All right, let's get into it, boys. All right, so we start off obviously. Oh, hold on, I gotta flip over. Obviously, we're on the Orville. That's kind of to be said, but the opening is kind of interesting. It's Isaac. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's an old. I think it's a '50s song, if I'm not mistaken. And he's kind of just doing his rounds and kind of walking around saying hi to
Bachelor in
everybody.
Paradise, Harry Mancini. That's the song.
Excellent. But anyway, we see him and he's stopping by all the various areas of the ship that he does, I guess, every day. He goes, he replicates a banana. And then, he walks it, takes it to Claire because that's a tradition. And then he goes to the bridge. And at this point, this is where I totally forget what we're doing. So I think they have to go to whatever the name of the planet was. It was something 4. And they had to go to the planet. It's the same planet.
Listak 2 is the name of the planet.
Yeah, because they got to check in with the observing party or something like that.
Right, and this is where, they're on their way there, but they're also heading for Bortus and Clyden's thing. Like they're
yes, that's right. Yeah, they've already Mercer kind of explains that they basically chase each other naked through the thing, which obviously Dave was very disappointed when they weren't naked. But I thought the thongs.
Well, especially there's this whole moment when we get to that section, but like they disrobe and you're kind of like, oh, they must be naked, but then we clearly see them not.
When you're promised full frontal nudity, I mean that's what you're there for, right? It's disappointing when you don't get what's been promised,
right?
So just coming back to this opening scene with freaking Isaac walking around the deck, like, this was too long. It was boring.
It was a bit long. Yeah, it was good. I think it was like 2.5 minutes. The screenshots don't really give a justification. Well, actually, I can tell you exactly how many. Hold on, because I have a timestamp on them. All right, so starts at 44:33, and by the time he gets to the bridge, it was 3 minutes long.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah, that was.
It flew.
You know
by.
what? They could easily shave that one off.
It didn't even need to be there.
Yeah.
You could have just started on the bridge.
Yeah, I love when Dave's positive and the rest of us aren't.
This was so boring. Why couldn't it end?
Dave's like, I love seeing this.
Isaac's delivering a banana to Claire. Who cares?
Yeah. Doesn't she have her own replicator? Like, does she really?
She does have her own replicator. That's true.
And wouldn't it be
when
more
it replicates
productive
the banana,
if you have a
are they
banana
all unique?
replicated without the skin?
It would be. Maybe like cut up too, something like that.
Maybe banana.
I'm
sure
you
the
want that.
replication-
You wanted full frontal banana nudity.
I want
as
full
well,
frontal
Dave.
banana, pre-peeled.
Basically, Bortus explains that they're going to do like kind of like a wedding renewal service for him and Clyden.
Right, where they have to chase through the woods. Like, I must chase him, and then we will have the sexual event. And I love when the
Yeah, we'll have the sexual event.
and they're like, and was it Tala's like, why wouldn't Clyden just let you catch him? And he was like, no, that strategy has been tried, and it leads to bad luck.
Now, I have to admit,
Yeah.
the whole sequence of them chasing through the forest is really good, especially when he gets hit by the boulder. I think that's fantastic.
that was hilarious.
You could also see though it like they were saying, what's her name? The Krill woman was saying that they're not good tacticians because through the whole time they're like revealing each other's location.
Yeah,
They're just and it's all
Constantly.
brute force. Like it's just
yeah.
Yeah, of course, and their daughter Topa is present as well for this, which I couldn't help but think about a lot. Was her two dads are getting naked and chasing each other through the woods in front of them, but
That screenshot is just something.
yeah,
All right,
like the Mocklins, a big part of their comedy is just like their physical appearance, and like
it really is.
Yeah.
But basically, they're chasing each other, and he grabs a rock and just throws it in his face.
Like he throws the rock at him, yeah, and he catches the rock, and like it's I don't know. I was into it. I gotta tell you.
Dave was into it. Okay, what happened here?
And then they come back. They come back, and then they do. Bortus is like, "I am the greatest. I conquered the sexual event."
Oh crap!
And
for some strange reason, my screenshots didn't move over correctly.
It's okay. I remember what happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that though because I'm on the wrong computer for that. So that's literally all the screenshots I have available right now. Talk among
And-
yourselves, gentlemen.
Well, and that their coupling has been like renewed and blessed, and this is what inspires Isaac to.
So it's over. Like this would be a story. Why didn't we continue with this line?
Well, we did, didn't we?
Yeah. This was actually good. I like this part.
Yeah,
I found in this episode I was bored most of the time, but the jokes landed. Like
They did.
when it was
Sometimes
funny,
they
it was funny.
yes. Yeah, I thought I think that Bordas and he's got some of the better jokes in the episode. He's just playing that deadpan.
And
thing.
Clyden's funny too. The way he's reacting to Bordas the whole time. And
Yeah, I enjoyed that stuff, and then I'm just gonna keep this moving because Jody's not here. Then they go to the planet, like Sargus 4. I'm sorry, is the name of the planet where the majority rule episode took place. That downvote, upvote. They all look like humans, but they're not humans.
I love when Gordon walks into engineering and says to Lamar that the captain wants you to go down to the planet.
Right.
Lamar's just like, what the hell?
What? And then everyone in engineering think that's hilarious. And then by the end, so then they're heading to the planet, and then this is when Isaac then goes to the mess hall. Well, first he does some research on traditions for bonding on Earth, and then he finds Claire in the mess hall, kneels in front of her, in front of everybody, and proposes.
Sorry about that, guys.
And then the episode took
one
a
second
bad
to copy.
turn.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Apparently, I was the one that wasn't ready today.
Apparently. Make sure he never forgets this, Adam.
Make
I
sure.
written it down.
So, how's life?
Oh, that's good.
Or
The
pretty good.
secret of life is.
Got
So we
Sometimes
got to the
more
part where
passive time.
Claire is now being proposed to in the mess hall in front of everybody. She's embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
Like, what do you think about that? That whole thing. Like, I get you
That
want
was
to
nice.
It was nice.
You know, I like the episode of where Data had the girlfriend Jenna.
Yeah, Data's Day.
Data's Day. That was a
Data's
great
Day. That's it.
because she just figured out he's not going to be enough. And Claire keeps hoping here, like if they do a 4th season, they're going to be divorced, guaranteed.
God, I hope so.
You think that's how season 4 starts with the divorce?
Maybe he'll wear like the wife beater again, and he'll be like sitting drinking beers and stuff.
So I talked to Commander Lamar, and I've decided that I haven't experienced enough in my life.
All right, sorry guys, just give me 1 second here. For some stupid reason, it didn't copy over. Okay.
Right? Yeah.
One of these days, it's gonna let me do this. Okay.
We had a question here. Are we going to be doing a series retrospective now that we've finished all these Orville episodes? But
I
don't
think we
should.
decided we weren't going to.
We're not going to, Sam, because
It's not done yet.
There may be more episodes to come. This isn't canceled yet, so
Yeah, there better be because it can't end like this.
This is a tragedy. All right.
You can't end an episode focusing on one relationship. Really. Yeah. Like you don't get a send off for any of the other crew or
All right.
anything. Like
yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a series finale. It feels like
No.
barely like a season finale, really. But
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we finish off seeing Clyden get chased by him. He finally gets caught, and then he does this like kind of howl thing while he's sitting on him, and then obviously other things happen. Clearly, Clyden is very, very tired at this point.
yeah, they are both much more out of breath.
I love the fact that they both have like massive beer guts, which just make it amazing.
Yeah, and how many hours did they spend in makeup, both of them? Because it's one thing when you just got to do your hands and your head, but
Yeah, it's another thing when they full body you, basically.
yeah.
I do love this kind of awkward silence thing where the two of them just have their foreheads together and everybody's like, what the hell do we do? And then finally Malloy's like, yeah, let's just clap. So everybody claps. And then we get Halsey, right? Halsey Halsey basically says, you got to go to the planet and, check it out. Something's going on, kind of thing. So then we get back to Isaac. I know you guys were talking while I was gone. So
yeah,
let
we
me know
kind
where we're at.
of, yeah. And then we got to this, when Claire's in the mess hall with Talos.
This is the proposal. Yeah. She's very excited about that ring, by the way. And we get our title card, Future Unknown. All right. So anyway, we're pretty much caught up.
And she's yelling at him.
So she's yelling at him basically like, why did you do this like in front of everyone? Kind of put me on the spot in the mess hall in front of everyone. It's not really an intimate way of doing it. And she's like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna, I gotta think about this for a while. So anyway, she kind of mulls it over. The first
just
thing
before
she
you're
does
there, I just want to say Norman thinks this episode is good. He gives it a 9 out of 10.
So Norman's usually level-headed and understands.
He is. He always is.
I don't understand. Anyway, okay, Norman.
Maybe he sees things that you don't.
Maybe Adam and Kevin are the cynics tonight, like Lamar.
Well, I think I'm almost always the same.
But not Adam normally.
Not Adam normally, yeah. So anyway, everybody's drinking in Kelly's room because let's be honest, that's where most of the drinking happens. And they're kind of mulling over, let's do kind of a pros and cons on you marrying the guy. And eventually they kind of go through a whole list. And then Mercer shows up. He's like, "Oh, everybody's enjoying themselves. I'm out of here."
This is great.
Bye-bye.
This was funny.
Yeah, and then I did like the line in this one, but anyway, they kind of catch it. They're like, "We want your opinion." And he's like, "Ah, shit," right? And he's like, "Well, why don't you ask your kids?"
Right, and they're like, "That's good advice. Thank you, sober man.
Yeah,
you've been useful, sober man. You may leave."
Yeah, you may leave, and then he just leaves. So then next day they're. He's still going through things, and turns out there's a communication from whatever planet 4, which is the same one that Lamar almost got executed on.
Lobotomized, yeah.
Lobotomized, excuse me.
Sargas 4, yes.
Sargas 4, that's it. So anyway, it turns out it's the girl. What was her name again?
Lysilla.
There you go. So anyway, it turns out she's trying to communicate, and they're a little dumbfounded by the fact that when they left her, she has no way of communicating with them. So it's like, what the hell? Turns out she's still a communicator. So anyway, they bring her onto the ship. She's kind of seeking asylum, I guess, is a good way to look at it. She doesn't want to be on the planet anymore. She says it's going to shit. And she wants to join the Planetary Union. So at this point, they kind of just talk back and forth about it. And I guess at this point, they decide they'll let her stay, kind of thing, on the ship. Then we go back to this. I can't remember what this scene was about.
Oh, is this where they were making the joke about him having gone on the away team? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He comes in. He's like, "Yeah, Captain wants you to go to the away team to." And he's like, "What?" And everybody just laughs at him the whole time. But anyway, it was pretty funny. Then at this point, what's his name? Isaac. There we go. The brain's still kind of working. So Isaac basically comes to ask if Malloy would be his best man. Actually, is it at this point? No, because Bortus isn't present right now, right?
Yeah. Bortus is not present for this conversation. No.
No.
So this is all about he's like, I'm getting married, and I think Lamar was like, I think you're jumping the gun. You're going too fast. You haven't been played the field. And Jenny, who didn't she date Lamar for a while?
Yeah. Yeah, she
right?
was the one that was like half naked in his room.
Yeah, she got promoted too, by the way. It looks like she's a lieutenant.
Yeah, let's not go there. I don't want all the angry comments.
Okay, well then that's fine. And then so she was like, "Don't listen, Isaac. He's a cynic," referring to Lamar. That lots of relationships, like work out when they're, the first loves or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. Lamar's like, you need to go test the field. Go date some other people first before you decide to get married.
Which is the dumbest advice for a fucking robot. Like, he is not going to care.
No.
Yeah.
So anyway, we now see the two of them. They're breaking orbit from the planet, and what is it? Ty and Marcus. Ty and Marcus. There you go.
Good
Ty and
point,
Marcus
Jody.
are watching that when Claire comes in and says, you guys have a seat. Let's have a look. And she basically like, Isaac's redeemed himself, right? Like, you guys are cool with him now. They're both like, yeah, I guess. And then she's like, that's great because he kind of, he asked me an important question. I think Ty was the one who was like, oh, about you getting married. And she's like, what? Does everybody know? And then I think the other one said something along the lines of, it's a small ship. Like, you should be able to clue this one in at this point.
Right.
So anyway, the kids give their blessing. Claire's very happy about that. And at this
These
point,
guys have been pretty non-existent this season, though. Hey, we haven't seen much of them.
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
Especially Ty.
There was a good, like, I remember that episode when they crashed on that planet. I like that one where Isaac took.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how many of those can you do? You know what I mean?
Marcus was a lot in the beginning of the season, but Ty's been here and there. But
And ever since Ty crawled around in all those Jeffries tubes, they don't need him anymore. He's not small anymore. That's the problem.
Marcus
but anyway,
really isn't. Marcus is like the tallest
Marcus
guy on the
is
Orville
huge.
now.
Yeah,
So-
he's like super tall. But anyway, so we go back to Isaac. He's in the science area there. Claire comes in and basically says, "Yes, I will marry you." Isaac's pretty happy about that. And then we get to go back to Kelly's office. This is where Isaac.
This is where he's like, "Do you want to have sex?"
"Oh yes, would you like to have sex?" And she's like, "Well, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for asking."
I'm
like,
fine. How are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you? Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, no, you don't ask people that." Like, you just
And then he tries to call Tala, and then,
yeah, he goes to call Tala,
Yeah.
and she's like, "What?
No, do
He's
not
like,
call
disregard.
Tala. Yeah,
Do not
Tala
call
will rip your head off.
Yeah. So anyway, we now see Kelly and whatever her name is,
Lacella.
Cicella,
Lacella.
All right, Lacella, kind of like La Serena. But anyway,
I don't like that.
not really. But anyway, maybe that's how I'll remember it. Lacella.
We'll just call her La Serena now.
La Serena. Yeah, I'll just call her. La Serena.
Hey, Macarena.
There you go.
All right.
But anyway, they're having a discussion. She's like, I don't get this whole like, utopia thing you guys got going on here. Like, you got no currency. Why the hell are you doing it? Which is a very Star Trek. This is a conversation right out of Star Trek.
But they don't have this conversation in Star Trek that often. Like in terms of
Not
like,
often, but
the
they do have
economics.
it.
Like a couple times in Deep Space Nine because the Ferengi.
Well,
are so
Kirk
different.
did it.
I-
Kirk did it in 4.
I find it
Right.
interesting though that she couches the reason as, or the currency as reputation,
Mhm.
which isn't what it is in Star Trek. It's not reputation. It's self-improvement. It's
Right.
the
It's a little bit
betterment of
different.
humanity. But here it's reputation. She's saying that to her, to
Yeah.
the woman from the planet where it's all reputation. It's all other people's opinion.
upvoting and
I
downvoting.
hadn't thought about that, but that's a good point.
That is a good point.
It's a different kind of up and down vote
Yeah.
dynamic here. She also says that like maybe you could be a great doctor, maybe you could be a great scientist or a great waiter. It's all the same to us. I was
Yeah,
like, is
because she
it?
was a coffee shop worker, wasn't she?
If you're like the greatest waiter that there ever was, then you can be kind of rich in a sense.
Well, it is. I would say in at least in Star Trek that like Cisco's dad commands the same respect from everybody that Cisco
True.
does,
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes. That from that perspective, yeah.
So basically, Kelly's like, let me show you something on the holodeck. I'll come get you at like 6:00 or whatever, and we'll go there. So anyway, we go back to the sick bay. We get to see this alien with 3 tongues, and I think she says something along the lines of, "Is it all the tongues?" And he's like, "Yeah, all 3 tongues." He's obviously sick.
His voice was familiar. I feel like
It was, yes. I was gonna say that,
but I
but I have
couldn't
no idea who it
place
was. Maybe that'll come up in fun facts.
I'm not
Dirk
recognizing his
Rogers. Dirk Rogers played him. He's the same guy who plays the Krill guard. And he plays the alien bartender. So he's played other roles. That's maybe why he's familiar.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Either way, I thought this was pretty cool to look at. Very odd. But Kelly basically interrupts this medical exam, and she's like, "Yeah, just so you know, like, yeah, you're, you know, the guy that's gonna be your husband. Yeah, it kind of hit on me."
Well, first, Claire asks her to be the maid of honor.
Oh, that's right. She goes, "Yeah, can you be the maid of honor?" And Kelly's like, "Oh, yes, that'd be great. You know, I love
And
it."
she says, I'm not really that close with my sister right now, so I'd rather.
Yeah, which we don't know anything about that, I guess. But
Thank God. I'm glad they stopped there.
There could have been the whole Finn
this
family
whole
drama here.
Michael Adam thing is just unsettling. Like,
Yeah, he's got this thing for Claire. By thing, hatred.
well, you know what? I do think there is too many Claire episodes, but that's just me as well. But anyway, she's like, "Yeah, no, he hit on me," and she's like, "He what?" And that's kind of where the scene ended. And then we get the next scene where she's like, "Yeah, no, if this is gonna work, it's gonna be you and me. It's not gonna be you, me, and Kelly. It's not gonna be
Yubi and Bortus was funny.
yeah, you, me, and Bortus isn't an option either. Just you and me." And you know, Isaac's like, "Okay," you know, it doesn't phase him at all. Oh, and then I like this part too, where she storms into the engineering thing. 'Cause she finds out
Lamar!
that it was Lamar that actually gave him the idea, and everybody's just like, "Oh shit!" And Lamar's like, "Hi, doctor. What can I?" Oh shit! She just comes charging at him. She's like, "Yeah, no, you need to leave him alone." And
I
stop
love no. She
doing
says
that.
the last time you gave him advice, he ended up in a. I got to see him in dirty underwear or whatever, and he goes, "Well, I didn't tell him." She's like, "Shut up. That's not the point."
Yeah, you giving him no advice. Because I always thought too there that like Lamar and Isaac were kind of like the best friends, you know, but
Yeah.
then Isaac doesn't ask
Kind of like
Lamar
a
to be
Jordy,
the best
Jordy
man or
Data kind
whatever.
of thing. Yeah.
But wasn't that
So-
another episode when Lamar is like talking about zippers on
Oh yes, yeah. That
on
was,
Gordon's how many
Yeah.
zippers Gordon's wearing or something? Yeah.
You can never
that
have
was-
enough zippers.
Zip
You can
all
never
the
have
jackets,
enough
right?
so anyway, we get to see La Sella. There you go. Yep, I got it.
Oh, this is
sorry.
why we don't give technology.
I don't think you got it, but it's okay.
I got it enough. But anyway, I'll be glad when I've done this. I don't have to deal with you anymore.
Kelly takes her to the simulator.
Takes her to the simulator, and she shows her the inside of a comet, which apparently is where these creatures live. And they only communicate by vibration, I guess.
I thought it was an
frequency.
asteroid.
Oh, okay. Asteroid. To me, they're kind of the same thing, but whatever. I guess that makes sense. But anyway, she's like, "Yeah, no, this is just a simulation, but you know, this is just
This
like,
looks so cool visually. Like I thought this
visually,
was
it's very cool. Yeah,
yeah.
It's
Like
all-
I was like,
it's almost like a
whoa,
mixture of a whole bunch of shit. Yeah,
when I was watching this again, just from a visual effects point of view.
yeah, they don't disappoint on this show when it comes to visual effects usually. So they do a good job, the artists. You know, unless this was AI, then Devin would be upset. But anyway,
Before AI.
yeah, is it? But anyway, so she's like, "Yeah, no, this is, you know, this is just, you know, is everything like this?" And she goes, "Oh, there's way better things than this. You know, this is just pretty spectacular. So I thought I'd show it to you," kind of thing. So anyway, Isaac's back on the bridge. He's talking to Gordon. This is where he asks him to be his best man.
Right.
Because he's witnessed, I guess he's witnessed him do various
Jokes.
speeches.
He's like, I understand the best man has to tell some jokes, and you're a
Yeah,
pretty funny
and
guy.
you're known as one of the funniest guys on the ship. And he's like, "Oh well, why? Thank you."
But,
Yes,
but
I am."
before he can say yes, then Bortus is like,
yeah,
I
and
am
then Bortus is like,
very
"I'm funny,"
I'm
and even
known-
like Mercer looks at him like, "What?" He goes, "On Buckless, I am very funny. I'm known to be very
this
funny."
just reminded me, like, you know how Davin gets that Worf doll, and he's always like, I'm very humorous on Kronos. I was like,
Yeah.
he's more doing a Bortus.
Yeah, he is doing a Bortus. He just doesn't.
He
know
doesn't
it.
even know it.
He doesn't
Yeah,
even know it.
Exactly. And Malloy is very upset that he's even chimed up and he gets the gig. And at this point, he's like, "What? What the hell?" Like,
I thought this was funny too.
very funny. And then we see Isaac, and Isaac calls what is it?
Primary.
Prime? Prime is his name?
Primary.
Primary.
Primary, that's it, Primary. And he's like, "Hello, Primary. I am going to be married, and I'm inviting you because this is a tradition, and you're supposed to, invite your friends." And Primary's like, "Sure, we'll show up. We'll leave a small detail to defend the planet. The rest of us will be there."
He's like, "Oh, we're all supposed to come?" And Isaac's like, "Yeah, all of you. It's supposed to be the whole family."
4,000 ships.
Yeah, something like that. So Isaac's very happy about this. Well, he's very Isaac about it. So we see Kelly, and Kelly's given more of the tour of the ship. She explains how their drive works and how it powers things. And this is where they get into that kind of, couldn't we just share this technology? This is where you already know that Lysilla, close, so close. You kind of already get the impression that she's up to something at this point. At least I thought so. I'm like, oh yeah, she's going to do something. Because she's really kind of interested in where all this technology lies and all that stuff. So then we go back to Gordon, and Gordon is bitching out Lamar and thing. He's like, how could he even pick me? How could he pick Bortus over me? Like, I did I not kill at your wedding?
Were there some misty eyes?
Yeah, he goes, lots of funny jokes and a little bit of Misty's eyes. Yeah. He's like, I just don't get it. And then all of a sudden the sandwich shows up, which I thought was a great nod. As we said back a couple episodes ago, we're like, yep, nope, that sandwich comes back. I totally remembered that. So he's like, oh my God, that's a sandwich I sent forward in time 3 months ago.
Did you like this moment, Kevin, with the sandwich?
I got to admit, I had fallen asleep for this middle part here.
Oh,
this is so boring, guys. I had like a micro nap through this part here.
Here's the problem with this scene. Okay, first of all, you'd have to remember this episode, which you did, Jody. Great. So he eats the sandwich. Nothing happens.
What do you want to happen?
Like, well, what would you want to happen? It's a normal sandwich.
Well, then it's not funny. Like, it's not funny to me.
He just sent himself a sandwich in the future. He's like, guess how happy I'll be when I get that sandwich. And he was pretty happy.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm instantly happier because the sandwich showed up. Anyway, I guess that was lost on me and Dave.
Or lost on me because I
lost on you guys, I guess.
And Kevin fell asleep.
I was not conscious for that part.
Okay, now let's say you were conscious. Would you have enjoyed that scene?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I would have. I don't think I even would have registered it.
Yeah. So we're back in, I guess this is Kelly's office because it's a different lighting setup, but she has couches in her office too, which I still don't get. But anyway, I guess anywhere to drink, I guess is really what it comes down to. But she's planning, I guess, Claire's bachelor party. She's like, yeah, no, we got the simulator until X amount of time. If we can get her to stay up that long. So this is when we see Lysilla. We're close. We're almost there. I'll get it one time before we end the show, I'm guessing. But anyway, so she goes over to the replicator. She gets a glass of water. And this is where she's kind of got the discussion going on like, well, why couldn't you have just helped them? Like, we could have got this could have made the world much better. And Kelly kind of explains to her that, like, that's not really how it works. Like, somebody's going to get a hold of this technology and they're going to try to get rich off of it. That's what's going to end up happening. It's not going to, feed all the hungry. It's going to, make, pad the pockets of the rich. So anyway, we end up going over to, in this case, this is Isaac's bachelor party, which is supposed to be in a Vegas-esque lounge. Now, I enjoyed this too, even though it is a boring scene for the most part, but I did enjoy, obviously, Bortus. But anyway, we see all of them. They're all, and everybody's kind of bitching about how, like, this is kind of a snore fest, right? Which maybe they were talking about the episode, who knows? But either way, he's like, this is a perfect replica. Like, what the hell's going on here? Bortus doesn't know what he's doing. And then all of a sudden he gets introduced as Elvis, which I have to admit, his fat face with the thing. This is obviously mid 70s Elvis. This isn't like
this is peak Elvis. This is Aloha from Hawaii Elvis.
This is what woke me up, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Hooray!
I do love Clyden and his hoorays. Like those are just amazing.
He's this scene was saved by Clyden, thank God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Clyden's reaction was amazing. And then we go back over to in this case, Claire's bachelorette party, and it's a way more bumping scene. Everybody's having a good time drinking, getting drunk, and we see this four-armed lady, which I don't think we've ever seen her before, but interesting. And then we get the special guest, which is essentially Isaac, but not Isaac, just one of his race. And
I think it's a hologram.
This is the stripper Kalon that they've arranged, and he comes out in the leather and just starts. Now, Dave obviously enjoyed this scene the best, didn't you, Dave?
I think Claire enjoyed this scene the best.
She definitely did later on.
What do you think of his uniform?
His tassels are amazing.
His tassels were a nice touch. I thought that this was kind of funny. I thought that the juxtaposition of the
I think silly is the word for me, but
silly, yeah. They're like, Claire's into robot men. We got to get her a naked robot.
I love how
man.
he's flossing himself, though. That's amazing.
Do you think Mark Jackson did this, or do you think they got some dancer guy to do it?
They probably got a dancer to do it, I'm guessing. Yeah. It's easy to hide them when, they have to wear the Kalon stuff. But imagine trying to dance and all that crap. Plus, they actually added on the other leather crap as well. So it's like that's got to be fun. But anyway, the two of them are talking, and then they're having this kind of deep discussion about Lacilia.
Close enough.
Close enough. All right, good.
You're always right, Jody. No matter what.
There you go. Good.
With her name.
But anyway, they're talking about her and how she's there's it's not going well and she's not going to show up. Basically, and then we see Claire, and Claire is just gyrating against this guy or this robot, and then we go back to the
Bordas, Love Me Tender.
He's doing Love Me Tender, yeah. He's up, and here's Kevin. Sorry, no, that's Gordon, but looks kind of like Kevin, at least during this episode. And he finishes off his set, and he's like, now you can all go. It's like, but I did like Isaac with his tie around his neck. I thought that was great. And I love how eventually Malloy wakes up and he's like taking the spit off the side of his face and stuff. So anyway, we go back to Kelly's office. This is obviously later on the next day. And Lacilia.
Yep.
Hey. She comes out and she's like, yeah, no, I'm really sorry. I gotta go back. Right.
I can't stay here. I have to go back to my home, my planet, my people. Yeah. And they're kind of hinting at this in the two previous scenes with her.
Are we really surprised now? She's figured out how to steal the plans. I'm going back. I'm going to make piles of money. End of story.
I don't know if she wants to make money, but she feels like she's got this, she wants to, help people. She thinks her planet deserves a chance to,
This scene reminds me a lot of Matt Frewer in that Next Gen episode, the time travel one. Where because at this point, I already know she's going to try to steal technology. Like that's literally where
Berlin-Hof Rasmussen.
Yes, that's right. I'm glad you knew that. I like that episode actually. You'll eventually cover it on
one day.
What is it? Thursdays?
Yeah. Well, we move around days, but
move around.
We did it on Radio Theater.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, I think Kevin played.
I don't think we did. Well, if we did a Radio Theater, I don't think I was part of it, but I don't remember doing that episode. But anyway, well, I'm glad you guys covered that because I like that episode. But anyway, she's like, yeah, no, I feel really guilty for being here because, everybody's going through hardships on my planet and I've just kind of left them all there. And, I'm seeking something better. So anyway, at this point, we're back to Claire. Claire's trying on dresses, which seems a little late to be doing that in the game, but, whatever. I guess
we only have things happening within a week or something or 2
something
weeks.
Like that. Yeah, a couple days anyway. But anyway, they're trying to get Mercer's opinion on it, and Mercer's playing the correct card here, which is they all look lovely. Don't give an opinion because you're just going to end up getting hit with it. But anyway, she changes her outfit, and he's like, yep, nope, like that one too. And then
she ultimately doesn't go with either of these dresses.
No, she doesn't have either one at the end. Yeah.
This scene strikes me because right after this, and it's in this scene, I think, Kelly comes in.
Yes.
Oh, and tells them about her wanting to leave, right?
Yeah.
Mercer can't make a decision about that either. He is the most indecisive captain I have ever fucking seen. She asked him what to do, and he goes, "What would you do if it was your decision?"
Yeah. I noticed that too. Yeah.
Poor Mercer. He's just like the punching bag on the show.
He's like the least decisive captain of any captain. And he wrote and directed this episode, so he can do anything with his character he wants. But
I do like that he's not made himself the main character. Like,
and you kind of got that vibe in the first season a little bit, where it was like he was it was very centric towards him and Kelly. And now it's kind of like we move around everywhere, which is a little bit better, except we get way too many clear episodes. But what can you do? But anyway, Mercer's very upset to hear about this. So anyway, we're in the shuttle bay and they're getting ready to take her back.
He's like, well, if she's going back this time, this is it. She doesn't get to change her mind again.
We're not jumping back and forth. And I love how he put in the line, like, we're not some sort of like galactic taxi service or something like that.
We're not a cruise liner or whatever.
Cruise liner, that's it. Yeah. Which literally he said it a couple episodes back with Halsey. He's like, or actually, no, I think that was in the first season, maybe second season, where he's like, do you get the impression that we're kind of just taxis? Like we just keep moving everybody around. But you got a ship. That's kind of how things go.
That's what it does.
But anyway, they're putting her back onto the shuttle. They're going to take her back and the alarm goes off. So at this point, here's my question.
Why are we doing this?
A, why are we doing this? And B, how did they not find out the first time that she stole a communicator?
Oh, that's good. Well, I didn't thought about that because she presumably did steal it from the ship last time, right? So
presumably, because she was on the ship, and then they brought her back down again.
It's possible she stole it from them on the planet. I guess
Oh, I guess it could be possible. I would have to go back to watch that episode, which, in my opinion, is better than this one. But anyway, so anyway, Talia is like, you want to open up your bag there? And she's like, no, why? And she's like, I think you know why. Like, obviously you've stolen some stuff. So anyway, she's like, this could be so much better. And she pulls out, I guess it's like one of their pad things, and it's got the plans for like all the different
for the simulator. It was for the replicator, basically. And
all these
no weapons things. Or no
weapons though. And she goes, well, we'll give you credit for that, I guess. But turns out, she's obviously trying to help. And so Kelly's like, you know what? Let me go show you something. Maybe this will kind of change your mind. And she shows a planet that I guess is one of the earlier Union planets that were visited. That wasn't Union at the time. And she's like, yeah, no, this is where they were. And then we those settlers decided to try to help them out. And things got really bad in 5 years. And just, so obviously they had some sort of nuclear fallout or something like that, because a lot of the buildings are destroyed and, there's big holes everywhere. So, and we got these guys, which I think is the absolute least best makeup I've ever seen in the show. Like, this is terrible.
You don't think it's good? Well, they have radiation sickness, so they're not looking at best.
Obviously, they have some sort of radiation sickness. This
he
is very much
he almost looks like the guy from RoboCop that gets liquefied on the windshield.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Don't touch me, man.
I love that scene. That is so terrible, but I love it. But anyway, Kelly's like, yeah, no, this is what happens when you interfere and you give technology to them before they're ready.
Now, here's my question for you guys. Like, whether you like the episode or not, like, does this argument ring true for you that what Kelly's explaining, and this has been explored in Star Trek and of course in this show too, this idea of the non-interference, the idea of unintended consequences. If aliens came and tried to bring us this technology, would we do exactly what they're showing us here?
100%.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
That's why they couldn't just dump technology on us and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we would kill ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why you have the MAD concept, right?
Yeah.
So you got to give it to both sides.
Yeah.
Right. But then they blow each other up with it.
Or you end up living in a bunker where everybody like wears one of those pendant things, and if they get too close to each other, it blows up or something like that. Can't remember that.
Well, she does say here, like, too, it's just in passing, but that this planet, you know, it was still divided by nation states and borders, and like that was the problem.
Yeah,
Right.
Was
they
not,
weren't unified yet.
Yeah.
Well, that one group would want to exert power of the other and like
Right.
and dominance, and and that makes sense. That sounds correct, because if you like the Americans wouldn't accept if the Russians or the Chinese or and vice versa, right? In our situation,
but then I don't accept the idea that you just don't do anything, like that there's nothing that can be done, that you couldn't bring along a species, like you couldn't do it
like as a sort of like a mentorship. You're kind
Well,
of
but
right.
there's the problem.
Right.
Then there's the resentment. Then, like if you go back to Enterprise and how the humans were like, "Let us get going here, guys." Like to the Vulcans, you guys are always telling us what we can't do.
And almost every time the Vulcans were right. So it was like,
and the Vulcans weren't in charge. They were just kind of like they had a lot of influence.
Well, they were the ones that were kind of assigned to them to kind of.
But they would only decide to give humans the technology that they felt they were ready for.
Yes.
Yeah,
like,
and for the most part, the humans had to develop their own technology in that show, right? Like, Archer's father had to figure out how that engine worked until, and he never got to see it realized because he dies before it comes out. But,
yeah.
Anyway,
this obviously kind of, hits her hard. She kind of clues in that, oh yeah, no, this might be bad. But anyway, so we go back to the ship. This is a little bit later on. And turns out there's a whole bunch of Kalons massing and showing up. And this is news to everybody, except for Isaac, of course. And he's like, Isaac. I love the look on their faces, though.
Everybody's looks in this, it's some of the best acting in the whole show, this scene.
They even called Claire to the bridge for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she looks at him exactly the same way.
Yeah, she's like, what
right
are you
after
doing?
this.
Yeah. But anyway, so the Kalons start showing up, and it's a couple ships at the beginning, and then all of a sudden,
This was visually cool just to see them surrounded by 4,000 Kalon ships.
Yeah, and then of course the primary comes on, and he's like, we're here to celebrate this, and blah blah blah. And Isaac's like, I'm really sorry, we can't fit you all. We're gonna have to broadcast it. We can only have a couple of you guys. And he's like, okay, that's acceptable. That's fine. So here's
we'll just broadcast it. So you didn't all have to come. You could have just sent one ship.
Could have just waited, and the signal would have got to you guys. But anyway, so we now see everybody going towards the ceremony, and I love how I do love the gag of the Kalon all doing the exact same thing constantly at the exact same time.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I already said I like the dress uniforms. I think all of the union officers should be wearing them, not just the front row people. But I guess they were too expensive.
Well, I think it's supposed to be just the command. The command people are, because like everybody that you see in the background, like you see, obviously, you see, what is it, Jenny?
Jenny, where's your dress uniform, Jenny?
It doesn't make sense that they don't have them.
You would think that they would have them on, yeah. But
Right.
I do love the fact that all of the Kalons are sitting the exact same way with their like hands, just like.
The real world practical explanation is that they didn't want to spend money on making dress uniforms for every person in the scene, but
Probably, yeah. And with the amount of Kalon suits that they had to put in, I don't know how many of these are CG'd and how them are real, but I'm guessing the first couple rows of them are real, and then the rest are probably CG'd. But anyway, so we get to see Bortus is trying to get. Oh no, sorry, this is before the ceremony. So anyway, he's just standing there waiting. We see Ty. He's going to be the ring bearer, I guess. So he comes down. He gets this smug look. I had to make sure I got the smug look. I don't know why he's not smug look, but that's fucking smug.
He was smiling right at that cameraman right there.
I know he was not. He's like, hey, you see me do that, bitch? Where's my paycheck? But anyway, so we see obviously Marcus is bringing her down the aisle. And everybody gets up in unison on that side. Anyway, we see Isaac's in his hologram gear. So anyway, we do this. Mercer does the typical speech of every captain, where it's like, it's my honor to, and it's a naval tradition. It's my honor to marry people. Blah blah blah.
It's almost word for word like the dialogue that Kirk has used in other like in Star Trek episodes.
Even in what was it? Which one was it? I guess it was Insurrection. Was it Insurrection that?
No, was it?
No.
Oh no, that was Nemesis.
Nemesis.
They got married in Nemesis, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Troy.
We don't see him do the ceremony because he's the best man. We actually don't know who does the ceremony for Riker and.
Actually, that's right. Yeah,
and Troy, because he couldn't.
Because they're having kind of a gathering, and then they're going back to Beta Z to do
that version. But Picard presumably could be the best man and the officiant, right? So
could be, I guess, technically.
But...
Either way, Claire is not wearing the that dress that she's
not wearing either ones. I kind of liked both of the other options more than this one, but this one's nice too.
It's a nice and subtle one, I guess. But what's not subtle is the amount of jewelry around her neck. But what can you do? Now I will say, even though I think Penny Johnson, very talented woman, and for her age, quite nice. The close-ups are not doing her favors here. So let's just move on. But anyway,
good idea.
That's just me being bitchy. Anyway. But he does this. They each do their own little, back and forth together. He basically says, even though I can't reciprocate love, I still will miss you if you're not around, and blah blah blah.
What does he say? I'm open to the possibility that my life could be better because you're in it. So therefore, something like that.
Wouldn't that be great if somebody actually said that during your wedding vows? I'm open to the possibility of that.
This could work.
Life could be better. But anyway, so everybody's happy because they're, they just got married. I love how all the Kaylon stand up and they do these little tiny claps, which I thought was great. So anyway, we now go to the reception, which is in the same place from what I can tell. And at this point, Kelly's basically said, yeah, no, she is going to stay. So maybe we'll see her as a crew member in the next season. Who knows? I know she's on the TED show. So she's on another McFarlane show as well. Which I don't know if that's been renewed or not. But anyway, so, she's really happy. And then they said, oh yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was Mercer. He's like, yeah, so, we've got a special surprise coming. And eventually we see the surprise, and this is, what's her name? I've already forgotten. Alara, right? Yeah.
Alara.
Yeah. Alara. Yeah. So Alara shows up, obviously, Claire's happy to see her. Rest of the crew kind of does a little reunion-ish kind of thing for her. We've already seen her once come back. She was in
that timeline was erased. So
that timeline was erased. Yep. So, there's a different timeline. This little quip between, are you keeping my seat good? And she's like, it's got some scratches on it.
Tala meets Alara. That hadn't happened yet. So.
Oh yeah, because in the they did meet.
even in that other timeline that was erased, they didn't meet directly.
Oh really? I thought they did.
Yeah, they were in the same episode, but they didn't.
Oh, that's right. Each other. But anyway, they do that, and then we get to see the scene where Bortus is trying to get everybody's attention, which is very familiar for anybody that watches the intro to this show. Mm-hmm. So he basically tries to get everybody's attention. He's like, "You will be silent." The same thing that we use in our intro.
He's like, Isaac, you betrayed us, and many people died. All kidding aside, though.
Yeah.
I was finding this funny. I don't know. But...
I didn't find this that funny. I think it could have been done differently, but either way, it's all right. I can live with it. But I love how they're all just kind of looking at him like, wow, this is just terrible. Right? But he
and Clyden's like, he's so good at this.
He's so good at this. He's so good.
And even Lamar's like, what? So then Isaac's like, I would also like to hear what Beloy has to say. So Gordon takes over, and he says some nice things. And he says something along the lines of, the doctor has seen me naked, but yet she still picked Isaac. I guess that doesn't mean much for me. So it was pretty funny.
You like these quips? Yeah, it was good.
The quips were all right that he said, yeah. The other ones weren't. But anyway, so they do all this, and he's like, okay, well, that was great and all. And, and he even makes fun of like the Kalons. And
they've all been drinking. They got a 4,000 light year ride home or something.
Yeah, and they've all been drinking. And all of them are just like staring at him. Like, what? But anyway, we get to see this guy again, which I always love to see this guy. And we get to see this guy on the side here. I've never seen him before. He's fucking evil looking.
Yeah, there was some interesting makeups coming into this whole scene. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of concerned because that guy almost looks like the Nero from the alternate Star Trek timeline, the Kelvin timeline. But anyway, so they all do the cheers and all that, and then they're like, "Hey, Gordon, can you sing a song?" No, I'll tell you right now, this was a terrible way to end this episode.
What?
Yeah,
it's not James Taylor.
I still don't care. This to me was boring and very long.
I like the song. I think he sings it well.
I would be surprised if Kevin was even awake at this point.
Kevin already had a nap. I was wide awake. I wasn't paying any attention to this, but I was awake.
Tell us how you really feel. But anyway, so they all kind of gather around, and then we see near the end, we see the whole Kelly and Mercer. They grab each other's hands, kind of thing.
I kind of hate this.
I hate that. I hate that too. These two should not ever be together.
And why? It comes out of nowhere in this episode too. It just feels like they're.
Well, I think it's supposed to be a whole it's reminding them of better times and stuff like that. But and then we see a nice little end shot here of the Orville kind of going into like a nebula, and then we're done. So that is the final episode so far, including this podcast. But you know what, guys? There's always a bright side to everything. And one of the bright sides we have is, of course, what is it, Dave?
Fun facts with Adam. Fun facts.
Wow, that reverb was on double alert today.
Mm-hmm. There's no fun facts. These are terrible facts. This
whole thing sucks. There was nothing fun about
this. There's no fun, dude. There's no.
All right, so we.
You know what this episode?
I am enjoying Grumpy Adam.
God,
like we got today. Claire and Isaac and Bortus and Clyden, and we got what's his name, Mercer and Kelly, and
love is in the air.
He was missing freaking Laura coming back onto the holodeck with Gordon. Like,
right?
Just
they could.
Why not? Why not bring that back in? And then they had this stupid story around. I can't remember it. Lucella. I don't even know why. I don't even know why it was there.
So, do you have any fun facts?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple. Things. This was Norm Macdonald's final episode as Yaphet. He completed the voice workover for season prior to his death in September 2021. That's a really sad thing. Norm Macdonald was great in everything he did, and this is a great way for him to finish.
I can't remember what he died of. I think it was cancer.
Cancer. The style of the Union dress is introduced, worn for formal events. Go figure. White colored, yes, Navy. Reminiscent of Starfleet dress uniforms introduced in the Star Trek movies. Yep.
No, they're different, though.
They're not different.
They're different enough.
You're talking about the Kirk style Wrath of Khan?
No, I'm talking about the
I think you're right. I think it is
Nemesis.
Oh no, it is Nemesis. Yeah, he's right.
They're totally different. They're the same color, but they're
maybe we can get some screenshots and we'll compare that.
When Lucella presents her badge to Ed, she actually has 7.9 million downvotes and 142,000 upvotes. So interesting.
She's doing badly.
Yeah.
That's why she wanted it.
This episode is exactly 3 months after the events of Twice in a Lifetime. Previously, Lamar sent Malloy's egg sandwich 3 months into the future, while Malloy is in engineering and upset about being edged out of Isaac's best man. The sandwich material is making him feel better, which again, stupid. I don't know.
Adam, we can't end this show with this. Like,
don't worry, we'll find something positive.
We got to find something that Adam's happy about.
I'm happy it ended. I can say that. Like, let's just end this now because this was You know what, guys? I was so jazzed after Domino and the one before that, whatever it was called. It was
Domino
a great
was a good
episode.
episode.
Domino feels more like a finale than this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
that's
what
kind of what I'm
happened to-
thinking. It was, yeah.
Like we don't know anything about Seth MacFarlane's daughter. Like I want to know about that.
Right? That was all
It
that.
just
too.
ended. Like we don't like hopefully they get this next season public or going because I want to know. Like we got some doors to close here. Anyway, I'm leaving it there because I'm not happy tonight. These are not fun. It wasn't a fun episode. I'm giving it a crappy rating too.
Hold on. I got some other facts
No,
that I just
Dave, we're done.
No, we have facts with Dave now.
Details with Dave.
details discovered
Details
by
discovered
Dave.
by Dave. When's that coming out? Where is it?
Okay, so there was just one thing I wanted to cover here because I was
Sad
something-
facts discovered by Dave. No, we can't use that one. Let's use this one. Delta details discovered by Dave.
Okay, Ed's. This was what I thought was interesting. Ed says that ship captains have always had the honor of marrying people, but this is a common myth. Ship captains do not normally have this ability, but they Star Trek and this show have led me to believe that every captain can marry somebody, but not well, at least in our world.
I think in
Well,
some
and even
scenarios,
his
but-
speech is reminiscent of original series. That
Yeah, it's actually so
Right.
so there's actually a little comparison here. So Jim Kirk in the Balance of Terror, I believe that is from.
yes,
He goes, since the days of the first wooden vessels, all shipmasters have had one happy privilege, that of uniting two people in the bonds of matrimony. And in this episode, Ed says, one of the great privileges that have always been bestowed upon ship captains since the days of the ancient seafaring vessels in the honor of uniting two people in matrimony. It's almost like
Didn't
Almost
Picard say that
identical.
too?
it's almost exactly the same. And that's it. I just wanted to kind of touch on that because I've been educated now about
All
ship
right.
captains not being priests.
Well, it's inevitable. We're gonna have to let Adam tell us his rating. So
I think he's going 10.
I think he's going 10 too.
I feel like this one might go to 11.
I have a feeling. Anyway, Adam, start us off, Adam.
I'm so disappointed in this ending of this because I loved this season. I've really enjoyed it, even though my rating's pretty. Anyway, look, I'm taking this down. This is going to get. There was some good, funny lines in it. Where I made it 4.
Okay. 4.
All right, Dave.
I'll go 8.
8. Kevin.
well, I'm not going to hit this with a 4 or an 8.
5.
Yeah, 5. It was the jokes landed. The story sucked.
There wasn't a story, Kevin. It was all over the place.
There was no story. We were not
You
told
don't know
a story.
nothing, Kevin. There's no story.
It only took,
Silence.
it took us like an hour and 10 minutes to figure out there wasn't a story.
Yeah, you know what,
I
Dave? You're right. This is the one weakness of the show. I said it earlier in this episode, but they do this. Too many storylines in one episode. It just and you don't need to.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna give this a 6, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's, in my opinion, just as annoying as Twice in a Lifetime, and that to me was not a good episode either. It's got some funny points, and that's the only reason why it's at a 6. But that's kind of where we are. So anyway, our average rating is 5.8.
It's the lowest of the
Yeah,
season.
I don't normally fall asleep during the episodes.
No,
this
not
was-
usually. Funny enough, IMDb gives us an 8.1, which just further proves that most of the people on the internet are idiots. And
Or I'm the only
but,
one here who knows what he's talking about. Maybe that's...
could be that, but most likely not. Anyway, 6.9 is our combined average.
But Den of
and,
Geek really
that's
liked
where
it.
we are.
There's another
Now, Dave, I know what you're asking me. You're going to ask me, what is next week's episode? And next week's episode is nothing. We are done.
No, Jody, we're not. We have a new project.
Oh, we have a new project. What is that?
We have a new project, a new show
Ooh.
that we're going to watch. It's called For All Mankind. And we're starting it next week with Red Moon. Season 1, episode 1.
Now,
from
are
Apple
all of us
TV.
going to be doing this, or is this going to be a?
Yes, and I'm hoping to recruit maybe at least one more person from our ranks to also be
Not
on
Chris
the panel.
Murphy though. Because
No, not him, because we know
Yeah,
he's not
'cause
reliable on
he's
Monday
in the
nights.
credits, and I think he's well. Here, let's quickly go back to our thing to see our ratings here.
Oh, you want to unhide that column that he's.
Oh, you're gonna have to do that then, Dave.
Here
I don't want to mess up your stuff.
So Murphy stopped coming after episode 9 of season 1.
But I don't think
He
was
made
even
it
here for all of
9
those
episodes. That's
I don't
Well,
think
he
he
leave-
even did that.
He at least gave us ratings.
He gave
for-
us the scores for them. I don't think he was actually here though.
I think he was on like 2 episodes. I barely
Maybe.
remember him
2
here at
episodes,
all.
yeah.
Who?
Exactly.
Chris Murphy. World Mind.
Who?
You know, that guy.
Yeah.
He's in the credits.
I saw that last week. I was going, oh, I forgot about him.
We all did. But he ended up having an injury, and then I guess he never.
Yeah,
never,
so
came
I'm,
back.
I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get Heather involved with. The,
Oh, that'd be
with,
nice.
with the For All Mankind. Although she's like, she's gonna watch this episode tonight, and based on how much she likes it or not, she.
It's a solid first episode, so I think she'll probably.
It is, and I get it. We're asking for a whole year commitment to watch all these episodes, right? So
Yeah.
it's
But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I also get to still hang out with you guys, which is always fun.
yeah, and Kevin
Except for
hasn't seen
maybe
it at
Adam
all,
today.
right? So
Yeah, no, I've watched
Adam
one
today
episode.
may not have been my favorite, but what can we do?
I don't know. I feel like this was
I
my
kind
favorite
of liked Adam
version of
today,
Adam.
actually.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
gonna
feel
lie.
like he was channeling me a little bit.
He definitely was dipped into the Kevin vibe.
He's
for
like, why are
sure.
they wasting our time for an hour and 20 minutes?
An hour and 20 minutes, and there's
All I
no
wanna know,
story.
guys, I just want to know what happens to the kid. I want the Krill story to go forward. Like, we've got lots to do, and it didn't
Oh,
be
there's a lot of
wasted on
stuff that they can run.
Isaac
in
and freaking
season.
Penny Johnson.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll just go away on a honeymoon and not come back for a while.
Oh, I've got a headache.
This is why she gets so upset all the time.
But
you
Dave,
know?
this
All
is
the time.
You know what?
You
I
need to
know
calm the
that-
hell down.
The draw on this channel is obviously Adam being cynical.
Yes.
But there's other things we do on this channel
True.
as well, Dave.
True.
Like what?
Well, we
Tell
have
me.
our ongoing series of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We have you on this week, Jody. On
Oh.
Thursday, we're covering
Oh yes, that terrible episode.
the Dolphin. So
Oh, it's a terrible episode.
Get ready for that. Maybe you'll like it more than you remember.
I do like the little treasure troll though. I think she's awesome. But
Right. Well, has many forms in that episode. I just had an interview with Sean Farrick from
Yes.
Trek Culture, whatculture.com, chatting with
I
him.
love Sean. He's such a funny guy.
Yeah. So I encourage you to check
Did you
that
ask
out.
him about his pants?
I did.
Okay,
His lack of
I'm gonna
pants.
go. Don't
But he's
don't
not
tell
going to
me.
give
I'm
us
gonna
the
go watch
answer. You have to watch the episode for
it.
the
I'm
view.
gonna go watch it.
He's doing it. He's okay. I won't explain it, but
I'm sure he has an explanation.
yeah, he just thinks pants are optional, and who can blame him?
You know what? I'm
Right?
with him.
So,
You know, when I'm home, pants very rarely are on me.
so there you go.
Yeah.
And what else do we
That's
got
the
going
full frontal nudity Dave's been looking for.
on? Yeah,
He's just waiting for it.
that's what Sean promised for the
Hey.
interview.
He was promised full frontal nudity earlier in the episode, and it didn't come out.
So we got all that going on. Of course, we already mentioned For All Mankind, and if you haven't watched that show, we hope you'll watch along with us week to week.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I haven't got too far into it, so I'm looking forward to kind of experiencing it for the first time.
and I even though it's not like it's less of a science fiction show than most of the stuff we cover here, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's really
I think it still falls,
especially
in the
for
right.
this group who covered all the Enterprise episodes, and I feel like it has a lot of what Enterprise even could have been. I think if
But it's a lot of what ifs, and that,
Yeah.
it's
those
an
are
alternate
always-
history, so
Yeah.
It's an
got-
alternate history thing, yeah. So
Yeah,
Those are always
So you
neat
have
to speculate on, except for this episode we just watched.
well,
Fuck, he's going right to the end on this, eh? Like he's until we actually shut down. But
Right.
speaking of which, we're done.
we're done.
this.
I was on Trivial Debates yesterday too, talk about Reboot.
What was the topic?
You know the show Reboot from YTV in the 90s?
I love Reboot. That was a great show.
So we were talking all about that.
I have it on. I have all the seasons on DVD.
And I was going against a bunch of Reboot super fans, and I was like, "Hey, I haven't seen it since 1999, but I'm going to go off memory." So,
Oh, great! How'd that go
So
for you, Dave?
Well, go find out. Go watch the episode.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, anyway, I think that about does it for us. Everybody who joined us during this voyage, thank you very much. And we look forward to you joining us on the next one.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody.
Or when this one continues.
Thank you for
Good
hosting
job,
all
Jody.
these 3 seasons. And, well, you know, I know we're not technically
And
done,
screwing
but
up every character name I could think
yeah.
of.
You know, it's been charming. So, you know, but, you know,
Yeah,
we're
these
obviously
episodes would have actually
continuing.
gone a lot shorter if Jody remembered names.
I also,
Yeah.
well, that's true. That's true. We also would have been on time if Adam showed up on time. But
Yeah, we would have been, but yeah. All those delays.
It's okay. Adam will work on it for the next one.
He's working on it. He's working on it.
Yeah,
I
he just
love
didn't
this
want to show up on
rivalry
time
for the end
me.
of the show. I'm enjoying this a lot.
I'm not hosting the next series, so it's, you know, I'm just gonna be a viewer like you, Adam. So I can't wait to see if you show up on time for Dave. So we'll see.
Okay, Jody. I'll be there.
I'm just
be
I'm
early.
At some
feeding the
point.
evil.
every week he's going to be early. Just
Yeah.
just-
That'll be amazing.
That's unlikely, Kevin.
I ain't gonna put my money on it, but you know. Anyway, thank you very much, and of course, everyone. Live long and podcast.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.